Hey everyone, what's going on? It's your boy Krebsy Crypto, and for today's video, I'm going to be going through like the top or best cryptos to mine at home, and this is all in my opinion. Now, I did my research and I've got most of my information from this article here, just so you guys know. I didn't pull it word for word and I didn't use the exact order. I've added some other coins as well to the list. These ones were just the top 5. I removed some and added my own. I've done my own wording. I just wanted to show you guys where I cited my source from. But I'll post a link in the description below if you guys want to check where this information came from, or some of it. Like I said, I went through and did kind of my own research, going off my own knowledge as well and such. But like I said, I'm going to be going through the best cryptos or the top cryptos to mine at home. So sit back, relax, and I'll be explaining like the algorithms, the miners to use, and what they're mined for, so CPU, GPU, and like the main purpose of these coins and such. And just know these aren't in any particular order, so I'm not going like on the article that I cited my source from, as you've seen there. It was like the top 5, it listed them 1 to 5. This one I have a little bit more, I have about 7 or so, but these are not in any specific order. These are just the ones that I personally think as well that are the best ones to go about mining at home, just due to power usage, and it can be due to like graphics card usage. Because if you know my channel, I kind of focus on budget mining or lower end mining. So I wanted coins and algorithms and such that were used for more budget friendly graphics cards and also CPUs, because a lot more people have access to that instead of going and focusing on the high end ones for like Ethereum and such, where you need like, RTX 2060s or whatever, like the very high end cards, you can say. Obviously, there's higher end models. That was just the one that popped in my head. But these are the ones that are more budget friendly. So first on my list is obviously Monero, which is XMR, which I've recently done a tutorial on how to mine that with your CPU. And this is an anonymous centric currency. So it's completely anonymous, it's untraceable, and it's mainly CPU focused, but you can also do it on GPU. It's not meant for ASIC, so it's ASIC resistant. So that's another big plus. The main focus of it is CPU mining, so it's good for any lower end CPUs and greater for old computers and such. But the algorithm is RandomX, and the miner that you want to use for this one, personally, like I've used even, is SRB multi-miner, and this will allow you to do CPU or GPU mining for Monero. And like I said, it's great for older computers, for older CPUs, also laptops too. And RandomX is the algorithm is built for mining on CPUs mainly. So like I said, their main focus is CPU. And this is a great coin for privacy. Like I've mentioned, it is untraceable. So not saying you can go and do, like, you should go and do crimes and be hidden and stuff like that. But it's kind of the point of cryptocurrency, is being anonymous, being hidden, and people not knowing like the people on the other end. And obviously, unless you're like sending them coins, like if I'm sending family coins and such, I want them to know that I'm sending it to them. But you can always let them know that. But this one's meant for privacy. And this has also been around since the start of Bitcoin pretty well. So you know it's stable and trusted in a way because it's stuck around this long and it's held its value. I believe it's a couple $100, at least Canadian from what I know. It could have dropped just recently from the big crash that's been going on. But last time I've checked, that was the price point it was at, was a couple hundreds, so around 200 or so dollars. It could have easily dropped. But like I said, this is great if you have older computers laying around, older laptops, older CPUs. Monero is probably going to be your best bet in that aspect. And then also I forgot to mention, with any of these coins that I list, if you guys want me to go ahead and do a specific tutorial on them, if I haven't already, I will go ahead and do that. Just let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I've done one for Monero already just recently, and there's a couple others on here that I've done a tutorial for already. That's why I kind of have knowledge on these. But if there's some that you notice that I haven't done a tutorial for, just let me know in the comments below and I will go ahead and do that. The next one on my list here is Zcash, which is ZEC. It's another privacy focused currency. So it's kind of the same thing as Monero, where it's anonymous and hard to trace. I believe it's not like it's untraceable, but like it's more just privacy focused. So it's keeping you anonymous more so. And this one's a GPU and ASIC focused algorithm and coin. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you can do CPUs with this, but On the plus side, it is GPU, and I believe you can use kind of lower end like 3 gigabyte cards. And with ASICs, it only requires a Z9 Antminer Z9 Mini, which is more or less a home miner anyways because of the size. If you look at some of my previous videos, I've showed off my Antminer Z9 Mini, and you see that it's meant for like home usage, and even like the power consumption compared to other Antminers as such is a lot lower, so that's why I call it like a home miner compared to other ones. So this algorithm is Equihash, and this uses EWBP Zcash miner, or Antminer OS, obviously for Antminers of course. But Equihash is kind of similar to Monero in a sense, or RandomX, but except it was built for more so GPUs, and then they also done ASICs as well, and that just kind of came upon because ASICs got built for Equihash. But similar to the Monero in the sense of privacy and being untraceable in a way. So it's meant to keep you safe and private and secured. And it's a better option for at-home miners that has GPU sitting around, or Antminer Z9 Minis like the household miner, because you can mine some other coins on the Antminer Z9 Mini, but it's mainly meant for Equihash, so it's good for that sense. And it can be mined on lower end GPUs in a sense, like 3 gigabyte plus, I believe. I'm not sure, I believe you can do 2 gigabyte with Equihash, but don't quote me on that. I have other videos where I've talked about Zec and Equihash and things like that, and I believe it can be done, but you have to have a certain like GTX, like, you know, like a 970 or something, like a certain model and up can only do it. So that's why I recommend at least 3 gigabytes for this. So that's why if you have 3 gigabytes sitting around, you can go ahead and mine Zcash if you prefer, other than mining like Monero where it is CPU focused. This one's meant for GPUs and ASICs, so you'll probably have a better chance with a 3 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte, so on GPU compared to Monero where it's kind of CPU focused. Now the next one on my list is Ravencoin, and there might be some like conflicts in the comments, or like people might be like, why Ravencoin, because it's on Kapow and such. But it's an optimized asset management, and it's a GPU focused algorithm. There's no ASICs, and I guess it can be mined on CPU also, but you have to use a certain miner, which is SRB multi-miner. Now I'm not saying it's profitable to mine on a CPU, especially with all the GPU power within Ravencoin on the Kapow algorithm. I'm just saying it is possible to be mined on CPUs. So like I've mentioned, it runs on the Kapow algorithm. The best miner to use is SRB multi-miner in my opinion, because you're going to have CPU and GPU. So if you want to use both for mining, you can just use SRB and run it with both, and that way you can have the GPU and CPU going. So some of the benefits is like it's a faster transfer speed than most cryptos. So if you're sending money back and forth through Ravencoin per se, it has a faster blockchain time and a faster confirm time than most cryptos. And it's focused on assets for the Ravencoin blockchain. So you're able, like in the sense of like, I guess you could say almost like stocks and shares, how they're given out. They're kind of focusing on assets in that sense for Ravencoin. And new features were added on the blockchain for Ravencoin, like messaging, voting, compatibility, and etc. So there's been a few different upgrades through it. The only downfall, of course, it's on Kapow, which can be power consuming and a heat intensive algorithm when it comes to GPU mining, unfortunately. But that's sometimes the bullet you have to bite if you are believing in some projects. You just have to run it through the extra power or the extra heat, just because you are believing in the project, so it's gonna hopefully pay off for you in the long term. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, a lot of this is just my opinion, and these are notes that I've been jotting down. But personally, I'm not a fan of Kapow. I used to be at first because I was like, oh cool, Ravencoin and a few others. But once I seen the power consumption and like the heat it gives off, Kapow was definitely not for me. But I am saying it is a good for at home in a sense, just because it is GPU focused algorithm and it's ASIC resistant, so it's good in that manner. The next one on my list is Avian, and I've done a video on this, and I've talked about Avian a lot just because I feel like it could be an Ethereum replacement in my opinion. But it's also another optimized asset manager just like Ravencoin, and this has two actual forms of mining that are profitable in a sense, which is CPU and GPU. Both are efficient, and it is also ASIC resistant. So it's literally just CPUs and GPUs, and they're both on different algorithm. It's not the same algorithm in the sense of like random X on Monero, where you can use CPUs and GPUs. This one has two separate ones. So the first one for CPUs is Minex. That's just the name for it. I forget like the full name. It's the same one as Litecoin Cash, which is like, I can't even pronounce like the actual name. So the short form for it is MINX. And to do that, I use CPU miner. There's also CPU miner multi or CPU multi miner, and that's going to be, I believe, your go-to for CPU mining on this. You can also use SRB multi miner. I've heard that's really good for Avian. And then for the algorithm for GPUs is X16RT, and that can be SRB multi miner. I know a lot of these are SRB multi miner, but it's a very stable miner to use, and it has a wide variety of algorithms that are already in the batch files and such. As you've seen in previous tutorials I've done, SRB multi-miner is a great multi-purpose miner, hence the name multi-miner. It's great for CPU and GPU algorithms. So this is obviously a fork of Ravencoin, but it directed away from Kapow. It started out with the Kapow algorithm, but then it takes a lot of power consumption, so the community spoke up and they switched it over time to different algorithms, and they broke it up, like I said, with the CPU and GPU algorithms, Minex and X16RT. So that's a good thing, that the development and the community, they all work together, they all listen to each other, they take notes. So that's a good thing, obviously, for project. And the only thing, though, it's another blockchain for asset management, so it's kind of like a clone of Ravencoin in a sense, but Avian has developed a little bit further than Ravencoin, and their community is a little more active, same with their devs, because I've heard Ravencoin devs have kind of drifted away from it. But this could be used by companies, like I said, for almost share and stock like options, similar to Ravencoin. And this has also fast transfer time, since it's obviously a fork of Ravencoin. So you're going to have the fast transfer times. I believe it's even faster than Ravencoin, because I personally mined Avian and Ravencoin, and I have faster times with Avian in my experience. And they're expanding the NFTs as well with low fees. So unlike Ethereum, it's not going to be high fees, it's going to be low fees. And the Minex algorithm is great for lower-end CPUs as well, and lower-end computers. People on a budget are using spare computers. You can literally use this on like an old dual core, an old single core. I'd literally use it on an old like laptop from like 2010, and it's worked fine. And the X16RT algorithm is a lot easier on power consumption for GPUs than Kapow. If you go and watch my tutorial on how to mine Avian, you will see that it is a lot more power friendly, and it's a lot more, I guess you could say, less heat consumption stuff. Obviously, that all depends on your card too and how much power you're putting towards it. But if you set the right settings, this is a lot better than Kapow. And like I said many times with this coin, it's an option for after Ethereum 2.0. That's how much I believe in it, because it stays efficient, it stays profitable in a sense. Obviously, it might not be hugely profitable right now just because of the crash, but in the sense of when it does like we get a bull run going, it's if not more profitable, or it's equal profitability to Ethereum. And it has a lot of development going on, and I believe in it like thoroughly. So that's why I believe it's an option for even after Ethereum 2.0. So the next one on my list here is Conceal, or CCX. It's another privacy focused currency, but this one has a few more features and a few more benefits compared to like Monero or Zcash. This one's a GPU and CPU algorithm. I've just done a video on this where people thought that you can only GPU mine it, but you can also CPU mine it. Maybe not the most profitable way, but you could still have it done. And so this algorithm is a kryptonite GPU algorithm. I'm not going to go like too far into it because I've just recently done a video on Conceal. I've done a couple videos actually. You use SRB multi-miner, as most of them, like I said, because it's a multi-miner. It's great for most coins, and it's a CPU and GPU coin. So it's another great privacy coin with messaging on the blockchain and even more features. The wallet is similar to like a bank, as in you can store away coins you mined or bought for a monthly interest rate, and you can set it from 1 month to 12 months, and you actually gain a fair interest rate. And this coin has proven to stick around and be around and have active development and an active team behind it. So it's not like staking in a sense. Like it is, but it isn't, because they're not going to pack up and go away. This is actually just being stored away for a monthly interest rate. It's been around since before the whole like staking feature and things like that. So I believe the back end of things is a little different. Like I've mentioned, an active dev team and community, so that's always good to see. The algorithm is very easy going on GPUs, as I've done in my previous videos. You'll see that Kryptonite GPU is very GPU friendly and power friendly, and it doesn't give off much heat. It's just one of those algorithms that works really well with even budget graphics cards, like 3 GB cards. Like I have GTX 1060s, and it works very smoothly on those ones. And even my 1650 4 GB, and that's a mobile card, and it works very smoothly on that. And it can also be mined on CPU, of course, just not in the most profitable way, as you know from previous videos. So that's why I'm not touching on this one too much, because I've done a couple of videos already on it. So if you want to check that out, but I'm saying this is a good one to mine at home just because of the power levels and the easy going on the heat. And it's just a very good privacy focused currency. The next one I'm going to talk about is Bitcoin Gold. And this is a cryptocurrency with Bitcoin fundamentals. It's quote unquote the easy to mine Bitcoin compared to like the actual Bitcoin. And this is done on Equihash-BTG. So it literally has its own algorithm on Equihash. So it's Equihash Bitcoin Gold in a sense. That's the algorithm name. And you can use Gminer, MiniZ, or Simple Miner OS, which is an operating system that you can use on your miners. But Gminer and MiniZ are going to be your main miners if you're just on Windows. And like I said, it's a very easygoing algorithm just because it's another Equihash type one. So you can use budget-friendly cards. So this can be mined with budget GPUs. Like I believe you can solo mine even with a GTX 970. And obviously you can go higher than that because it's just saying like at least to get a minimum graphics card, you have to have a GTX 970. And that's going to get you to be able to start mining, even solo mining. But like I always say, I recommend pool mining unless you have like a huge setup going on, like a huge like I guess say farm or mini farm going on. It was created because Bitcoin mining difficulty was getting too high for at-home miners. So they forked off of Bitcoin and made Bitcoin Gold. The difficulty and DAG size doesn't jump like Bitcoin's does. You don't need like ASICs to go and mine it. Like I said, you could just use a GTX 970. And this is mainly just a GPU algorithm. Like I said, I'm not sure if Equihash can be done on CPU. And even if it is, it's not going to be super profitable. And this is meant for more common household GPUs. So like I've mentioned, 970s and higher. A lot of people have old GPUs just laying around. I know I've done previous videos on what to mine with 2 GB graphics cards and higher, because I believe this can be mined on 2 GB and higher. Just don't quote me on that. I've tried to look it up, but I haven't got a solid answer on that. But I believe in 970, you're not really like getting like 3 or 4 GB with one of those from what I know. It's the same fundamentals as Bitcoin. It is just lower difficulty and DAG size, so it takes less to actually get in and start mining it like I've mentioned. And it can be solo mined with lower end GPUs, which is always a plus. So if you want to play, I guess, like the lottery, you can set some old GPUs up and let the solo mine and try to hit some blocks. You know, it might not be obviously worth as much as Bitcoin and such, but it still, you know, in a way makes you feel good to hit solo blocks, especially if you're an at-home miner. So that's why I recommend this one. It has a lot of purpose for at-home mining and just lower end GPUs, so that's always a plus. And last but not least on my list is Vertcoin, or Verthash if some people know it as that. And this is mining for 2 GB GPUs. It was an Ethereum fork near the start of Ethereum to keep mining for low end GPUs and fair mining. So kind of like the Bitcoin Gold aspect, but for Ethereum in a way. And this is on the Verthash algorithm, I believe it is. I believe that's what the algorithm was. And the miner to use, at least I've used at all times. I've tried using other ones, but the easiest and simplest one is the Vertcoin one-click miner. And that's the simplest and easy way. You just get the one-click miner and literally set your coin you want to mine. If you want to direct mine Vertcoin or other ones, and you just click start. And it's as simple as that. It's a couple buttons you click instead of setting up a batch file and other things. And this was an Ethereum fork when Ethereum first launched, just to keep mining fair. It was made for that reason, and it was to keep it fair for smaller miners, budget miners, and at-home miners. Because as we know, Ethereum's difficulty and DAG size just took off, as soon as it launched. It wasn't really built for the smaller end miners. So there's, like I've said in previous videos and other videos as well, there's always going to be coins for these lower end cards. People are always going to make forks of them. People are always going to make like just a new version of a coin. You know, there's always going to be something on the market for budget mining and even lower end mining, even higher end mining too when Ethereum's done. There's always going to be something for everybody. And it's great for budget cards. Even 2 gigabyte GPUs can go ahead and mine it. I believe the DAG size is actually 1.5 gigabytes, but I wouldn't recommend using a 1.5 gigabyte card because that's like the very minimum. I recommend at least 2 gigabytes to give yourself extra space, because something on a 1.5 gigabyte card with a 1.5 gigabyte DAG size might totally fry that card because you don't have any extra memory room, and it might error out even. So I recommend 2 gigabyte GPUs and up, which is still great because, like I said, a lot of people have old GPUs laying around, or if people are just on a budget in general. And the DAG size doesn't grow year over year or month to month, unlike Ethereum and other ones where it's always kind of growing just depending on how many miners. And this is to keep budget miners having something to mine. Like I said, Bitcoin is not really like under development or anything. It's already said and done. It's just out there for budget miners, so we all have something to mine. And it is a possible, now don't quote me on this, but it is a possible alternative when Ethereum goes to 2.0, as it is a fork of Ethereum in a sense. So I don't see why, if more people jumped on it, that even with like, you could use, 4 or 6 gigabyte GPUs, it's not going to run up the DAG size and such, and it might be easier on some of these graphics cards while still pulling a profit. Because even myself, when I was living at my apartment, obviously I had hydro included, so my hydro rate wasn't fluctuating. I was paying a flat fee for rent and all that. So my hydro I wasn't paying separate for, so I was pulling a profit with 2 gigabyte graphics cards, which many people can't say they do. But if you have a good situation where maybe you're not paying for hydro, or hydro's really cheap, if you want to set up some 2 gigabyte or just lower end graphics cards, it can even be 3 or 4 gigabyte graphics cards. Bitcoin is definitely a solid option, and it has some features similar to Ethereum itself. But yeah, guys, I know that was a lot of information at once, but I just wanted to go over, like I said, in my opinion, the best cryptos or top cryptos to mine at home. And like I said, I gave my reasoning. These are just all my personal opinion. So obviously everyone's going to have like a different opinion or different taste on coins. Some people might say, oh, this is not profitable, this is not profitable. I'm not really going in the sense of profitability. I'm just going in the sense of ease of mining. So with CPUs and GPUs, I know I've had one with ASIC, but that was just an at-home miner. But like I said, it's just in a sense of, something different than Ethereum, something different than Bitcoin. And these are just options for even after Ethereum 2.0 is done. So I'll post a link. Like I said, I'll give a whole list in the description to these ones that I made. I'll post like a paste bin or something. So that way you guys can go ahead and kind of read through this, because I did make like kind of like a script for this video, you could say, with some points and notes and things like that, and like the miners and everything. So I want to let you guys see them, so you don't have to always click back and go through this video. You can just favorite this paste bin or whatever I use, Google Docs or whatever, and that way you guys have a list of coins for if you want to start mining now or after Ethereum 2.0. But overall, I hope you guys learned something from this video. Hopefully maybe a new coin to mine or something to try. Because like I always say, knowledge is power. And just learning is always fun and experiencing. So you can go ahead and try some of these coins if you even want. Not saying you have to go and mine these or anything like that. But like I said, it's just something to take a look at. But that's all I got for you guys today. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it lets me know you guys are enjoying this type of content. It wasn't really a tutorial or a news video, it's just kind of like information. But like I said, I could always make certain tutorials on these coins, the ones I haven't already done. But that's pretty well it for today's video. I hope y'all have an amazing day, and this is Krebsy Crypto signing out.